What's up, y'all? We are back for, I guess, another in-season episode, starting to get a regular cadence going. Just me and Justin here talking about what's happened the last few weeks. So this is just another one of our regular cadence episodes. We'll start having people in the league on maybe next episode. It might have some kind of extra stuff included with analysis and whatnot. Got to figure that out, but might be dropping some of that. But welcome.
Yeah, guys, welcome back. It's been a wild ride already this season. We're only nearly done with week 3, so it's shaping up to be a wild one per usual. And the first episode dropped, and I went ahead and dubbed most competitive season yet, which I do think it will be, just with how many teams are set to compete. I do. Do you agree with that?
The first season was pretty competitive. I think it's going to be hard to beat that. I don't know. I don't think I would. I'm not willing to dub it that yet. Our first season, literally, there was like a 2-game difference between first place and like 10th place or something like that. So I don't know if I'm willing to do that. I'll fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's where it stood. So I don't know if I'm willing to do that, but it'll be certainly more competitive.
Is I had the best season and the hardest season.
I'm not going to say best season, but I think you did win in one of the hardest seasons. But maybe that just means you got lucky.
Nah.
Okay, so in the first season, you had 9 wins, and 8th place had 6 wins. And playoff was 7 wins. 9th or 11th had 5 wins. So even at the end of the year, second to last place was only 2 games back from playoffs. So that was pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think the teams that are shaping up to make playoffs, well, honestly, it's up in the air right now. But I think whoever does make playoffs is going to be – every matchup's going to be dicey. So anyway, Looking forward to it. I think it's off to a great start. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about a little recap of weeks 2 and 3 since we low-key hit week 1 in our first episode of the season. So lots happened since then. Excited to dive into it. Logan and I were just chatting before the episode, and we couldn't contain ourselves. You know, it just kind of came out naturally. But, yeah, there's a lot to uncover. And, yeah, going to be fun.
And we're not technically done with week 3 yet. Like, we are filming in the middle of, the Jags are getting absolutely lambasted by the Bills right now. But for the most part, we've got a pretty good idea of how all the match-offs are going to play. But I don't think there's anything in week 3 that will be determined. It looks like everything is more or less determined now. Unless James Cook. No, that's not going to happen. Yeah, so we know what's happening week 2 and 3. So
perfect. Well, yeah, let's just dive in. I'll pull up the matchups here, and we can take a peek so you guys following along on the screen can see. All right.
perfect. We're showing on the screen here for those of you watching, but we'll try to narrate what we're looking at as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So this week, let's actually go back to week 2. Week 2 is what we need to talk with first. You know, we talked about week 1. There was some hot teams out of the gate, most notably Levy's team. You know, he's got a bunch of old farts on there. And yeah, Tyreek Hill still looked unstoppable. Kenneth Walker, beast mode. A.J. Brown doing what he does. And yeah, some injuries were sustained there. I think A.J. Brown kind of crept up.
Well, when I think A.J. Brown was out before the game started, I believe, on week 2.
Yeah, but like he stayed in the game for week 1, so like it kind of happened in practice.
Yeah.
Same thing with another couple notable players. I mean, I think there was Evan Ingram was a late scratch.
Yep.
That was relevant for Corey, although he still has George Kittle, so he's good. But yeah, definitely some injuries, and that's classic fantasy football where teams start losing people and fantasy teams take the brunt of it as well. So here's the week 2 scoreboard. Which one stands out?
Stands out, yeah. I mean, again, I think after week 1, I was like eating my words on Levy. Obviously, he put up massive points. Was the highest scoring league. Brought an L to Josh's team. And then, Tua got hurt, and so that's certainly affected Tyreek Hill production. I think Tyreek put up was like
5
points. Yeah,
Yeah.
5 points. In week 2, so it's like that. I mean, that's a big chunk of his scoring every week. And then I believe I can never remember. Oh my goodness, the Kenneth Walker. I always want to call him. I think I want to call him Marshawn Lynch, even though obviously because Marshawn played for the Seahawks. But Kenneth Walker, that M is just upside down, or the W is upside down in my head. But Kenneth Walker being out, and then AJ Brown being out, Tua being hurt, and then I think that's all he had on week 2. And Isaiah Pacheco I think went out in the middle of week 2.
Yeah, final drive ended up having a fibula injury, and it looks like he had surgery already, 6 to 8 weeks minimum there, and then they're not even committing to him sooner than playoffs. It sounds like playoffs is the goal for the Chiefs, which obviously NFL trumps fantasy for these teams, so they don't care about our leagues. But yeah, that's a big blow for Josh's team.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I mean, at this point, he doesn't have any draft picks, and Josh is such an interesting. He's an interesting position because even if he wanted to tank, and Josh has told me that tanking's not his DNA. He won't do it. They can't make him. But even if he wanted to, what's he even going to tank for? He doesn't have a first round pick until 2027, and I'm sure that'll be gone here. Yeah, that'll be gone here in the next few weeks to try to compete. So he wants to compete every year. My hope, selfishly, is that he keeps trying to compete and it just goes poorly, so that I get an early pick in 2026. So I tell him that often, but it's an interesting situation because he's got a lot of injuries right now. But I think as everyone gets healthy, he's going to be fine. He'll make playoffs. He might end up as a bottom seed, which is a potential upset match for that first round. But it's going to be an interesting, first half of the season. I like from a human perspective. Obviously, don't like him being injured, but the injury to Isaiah Pacheco is interesting because now I get to see how Carson Steele is, who's in my taxi slot right now. So, we'll see how that looks. But obviously, Josh is the one that stood out to me the most. What about you?
I think it was Christian. I think more news came out about CMC here, and I got the joy to play him when he was out. That's definitely always a game changer is when Christian McCaffrey drops 30 on your head. So Joe Mixon got hurt. The rest of his team did fine, but Brandon Ayuk's definitely been a disappointment for San Fran, and as a team, they're definitely struggling. And then Travis Kelce, the cliff is here, baby. Now, I still think we're going to see big games from Travis Kelce, no doubt, but he's definitely not what he was, and at least how they're using him in their offense as well. So, yeah, Christian put up 70-something points, and I had some players do okay. Lost Cooper Kupp, unfortunately. Jameson Williams turning it on there, starting to look like a steady option for my team here. Yeah. And then Achane, man.
Achane.
He is. I sent a message in the chat this week, or last week, I should say, that don't let me trade this guy. I mean, he's a 22-year-old running back, absolutely killing it. And
hey, Justin, I've got a 101. Achane, I think, would look really nice on my team.
I think he's going to take 2 101s, honestly. He's doing good.
I'd love to have Achane on my bench every week, just putting up points and not going towards my totals.
Yeah, but so that's the one that stuck out. I think we can also agree that Riley is poking out from the crowd here. He had a narrow win here, which, funny enough, left him at 2-0. Going into week 3 at 3-0, I think there was only 3 teams left that were undefeated. And spoiler alert, he's probably going to come out on top as the only undefeated team. So I think in our preseason ranks, Riley was bottom half. I think I had him at second to last. I might have had a third to last. I think I had him above Ryan. So now his wins he's been squeaking by. They've been narrow wins, but if he can, it's kind of a race to 7 or 8 wins, and he's already halfway there 3 weeks into the season. A little under halfway there 3 weeks into the season. That may be enough luck to kind of get him back into the playoffs. I mean, and Rashee Rice is looking. He's looking legit. Yeah, I was going to say his Chiefs players, Xavier Worthy, not quite the splash that he was in week 1, but Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and then Jordan Mason pickup of the year so
Jordan
far.
Mason, yeah.
Especially if CMC keeps getting hurt, and that's obviously why Christian's team is looking a little lackluster now. He's missing CMC.
Yep.
I can't remember if anyone else is hurt, but
and that's what's wild about Jordan Mason too is like Elijah Mitchell, right? Elijah Mitchell was the backup, and then he got put on season-ending IR before the season started, and so like Christian was covered as far as like backup running backs go, but then Elijah Mitchell went on season-ending IR, and now all of a sudden it's Jordan Mason who's absolutely crushing it. So that's another tough draw for Christian.
Yeah, speaking of crushing it, all my former team members here, Alvin Kamara, doing work in week 2. I think he paced everybody 43 against the Dallas Cowboys, who have turned into just a turnstile on rushing defense. So,
no comment.
Wild stuff. So yeah, classic Corey, putting up 150 plus. I think if we went to the league ledger, he'd have like 3 or 4 of those weeks. He and Zach weirdly get just massive boom weeks.
Yeah, Zach will put up 170 like 3 times a year, and then the rest is like 40 points.
Oh, man. Mike Evans is human, though. I think he had a down week again in week 3, so.
He did.
He'll still hit 1,000 yards, no doubt.
He always does. Right up there is I got a Mike Evans signature right up there.
Oh, that's nice. That's real nice.
It is.
All right. So, yeah, week 2, I think the storylines are starting to shape is, can teams stay healthy? Can star players come back? CMC, I think he's the ultimate game changer for fantasy. And then teams are finding their identity. I mean, I'm going to start every running back against Dallas. I think that's my strategy moving forward.
Hey, well, I get it. I have a running back that will play Dallas twice a year. So that was nice.
Imagine Saquon. That's going to be scary.
Yeah, trust me. As a Cowboys fan, it is scary. Although we already playing Saquon twice a year anyway, but now our run defense seems to vanish. So
yeah, and the Eagles' offensive line is one of the best. So
yeah, and one thing Zach Miller as well is sleeper, like grossly underprojects him every week. Like he's got some good players on his team, and like 3 weeks into the season, like he's got tight end 2 with Brock Bowers. So kind of an interesting play, trading away Dalton Kincaid, and now he's Brock Bowers. Now, obviously, Dalton Kincaid scored this week, so, he'll be catching up a little bit. But Brock Bowers has been a good play, and Charbonnet's been good with Kenneth Walker being out. So Zach's team has kind of been one of those surprise teams that's really performed every week.
Yeah, and James Cook, I mean, I think the new offensive play calling in the Bills, I mean, they changed over late last season, and he kind of exploded from that point on, and it's carried over. So I had an opportunity to trade for him in a different league, and I was like kicking myself for it. But Zach has him here, and it's definitely paying dividends.
Yeah, I benched DK last week, and I lost because of that. So I know Blake wanted me to talk about how horrible I am at managing my team, so just wanted to make sure to throw that out there because I handed myself an L by my poor management last week.
Yeah, did anyone outmanage you last week?
Yeah, you did. I'm probably pretty easy to manage. I poorly manage my team every week.
Yeah, well, speaking of poor management, let's head to week 3 and check out my pitiful effort here and continue the storylines that we're shaping up. So, yeah, what did we say? 3 teams ended up 2-0.
3 teams were undefeated after week 2.
And there was a little head-to-head with me and Riley as a 2-0 teams here. And then it looks like who else was 2-0? Corey's team, but all teams besides Riley are going to end up with an L after this week. But I want to take a peek at mine because I don't know what happened, man. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Anthony Richardson's not a good NFL quarterback. Maybe he'll be a good fantasy quarterback, but NFL-wise, yikes.
I'm not going to lie. There's relief. There's relief in me when I look at his stat lines.
Yeah, a couple other things stinging here. The Ravens throwing the ball 12 times and Mark Andrews running about 6 routes the whole game. Yeah.
Well, the Ravens though, like that's not something I feel you have to be concerned on a weekly basis. I mean, Derrick Henry is good, but it just seems like playing the Cowboys this year is a different beast. So,
I mean, at least I matched the tight end score for Riley's team. So, I mean,
yeah, good work there.
I mean, at least he ran 50% or was on the field 50% of the time. But yeah, that's.
He should have held on to Hunter Henry.
But yeah, Riley had a decent week. You did enough. Our quarterbacks were both poo-poo. Jonathan Taylor did work, but he had Rashee Rice, Chris Olave, and his defense didn't get negative points. So yeah, easy victory.
Yeah, that Raiders defense. Andy Dalton was unforeseen in putting that up against the Raiders.
I was hoping he would look like an old man and not be able to evade sacks, but old men tend to know when to bail and when to throw the ball away, which these young guns don't have figured out yet. So,
yep.
In hindsight, yeah, I would have started the Bears defense because they scored, or not the Bears, the Green Bay.
The Packers.
23.5. So there's a nearly 30-point swing.
They absolutely lit it up.
Enough about me, though. Riley, congratulations on 3-0 start. Top of the league standings. Let's take a peek at some of the other matchups here.
Now, Zach's about to be 1-2, but he's actually, I think week 1 and week 3, I think week 2 is when he kind of laid an egg. Maybe not. Maybe week 2 is when he did well. But he also did well this week, and really the rise of Malik Neighbors has kind of reinvigorated Zach. Even though he's going to lose, tough week for Zach, but his team, showed up, putting up 114.
Yeah, and Dak's always been a steady fantasy producer. I mean, when you throw the ball 51 times and chasing 4 touchdowns, tend to score some points. And Neighbors, even Singletary. We gave him a bunch of crap for that trade on Zay Flowers, but I knew Singletary was going to be serviceable. He's doing a little better than I thought, but yeah, he's RB1 on a average offense at this point. I mean, they have their ups and downs, but yeah, he did okay.
I mean, are the Giants 2-1 now, or are they 1-2?
I don't know.
I think they might be. I think
1-2.
I think they got their first win. Yeah.
Yeah, over the Browns.
So, are you still glad you have Zay over Singletary?
I think for the long haul, yeah, because currently, if my team was healthy, Singletary wouldn't be starting. I mean, Cooper Kupp's out, and T. Higgins has been out, so
yeah, fair enough.
He would be on my bench.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he went up against the league favorite in many people's eyes, Josh Rich here. So yeah, Josh Rich didn't have anyone jump off the page, but everyone just produced
Everyone did
enough.
their job.
Yeah, and very rarely do you see projections come true, but Josh is usually projected 120 and he's at 140, so did a little better.
I want to look at Josh's bench real quick.
Oh, let's see it. Let's see. I'll slow down. He's got Tyler Lockett, Minshew.
Just making the right. Yeah, I mean, that's what's nice, and I think that's one thing that makes his team good. Is he knows the decisions to make, and that makes his team good. He starts his players, and they're going to produce every week.
Yeah, he consolidated a lot when he made that Josh Allen trade. I mean, he got rid of those Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston. I said that twice.
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson is what I meant. So really the only player I feel like he could swing in and out is Jalen Waddle, but without Tua, I think that was a no-brainer to sit him.
Yep.
Oh, here's this one.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, in week 2, we asked, does anyone jump out? If we were to ask that question for week 3, it'd be Ryan. Ryan is, we were talking about this before we started recording, but Ryan is, self-proclaimed, tanking, trying to do it, but now all of a sudden, he's 2-1 after trying to lose. I think week 1, he'd started J.K. Dobbins as, okay, this will... I'm not trying to win. I want to try to not get points. In week 1, J.K. Dobbins put up 21. Yeah, and now he's become the clear-cut RB1 in San Diego, absolutely crushing it. And Ryan finds and Jaden Daniels kind of being somewhat of at least a fantasy star and making Washington actually look really good as a quarterback. And so now he's looking like a legit team. And then again, Andy Dalton in Carolina. If that's what Deontay Johnson needs to, be the player he can be, that's another piece of it. So, I think his team's going to be up and down. Last week I think he put up 50, and I think that's, in reality that's still his floor. But it seems like he actually has a high enough ceiling to where he's he's taking himself out of the play for 101, which is what I think he was competing for.
Yeah, it's tricky. I've been in this situation before where you're having unexpected results. I mean, I think we've all had high hopes and been deflated, but it's always even more weird when you're like, I don't expect much, and you get something in return. It's like, well, maybe I have a chance. And my encouragement to Ryan is don't be halfway. Either go all in or go all out. We'll see if he heeds that advice, but I know he's prodding the trade market right now, and I don't know. I'm certainly going to wait a few more weeks before I make any splash moves, if any. I think I've done that in the past where I've, either waited till the very last minute or done it a little too soon. So I don't know. We'll see what Ryan does. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Ryan, I'm sure he's putting out trades that either put his team into contention or like secure him into tanking. He and I were having a little dialogue about trading, and he always puts the most like complex, convoluted trade offers out there. It's like I don't think he ever puts out a trade offer that includes two people. It's always got multiple, or he loves his pick swaps, everything all over the place. So
just please, no more first round picks for mediocre quarterbacks. Don't do it. Don't do it. And we've set first for Daniel Jones and Jared Goff, and you drop Daniel Jones.
But Daniel Jones might be decent enough now.
Right, and guess whose team he's on? Not his.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, but yeah.
Well,
speaking of the other team in that matchup, Levy. We talked about some of the injuries his team sustained with Kenneth Walker, A.J. Brown, the injury to Tua affecting Tyreek, 5 points again. But he made a trade preseason for a tight end, and now that tight end is league winning.
One.
I don't think this is going to happen every week. A.J. Brown out.
No.
It was a close game. Dallas Goedert was just streaking all over the field.
Devontae Smith went out with injury as well. He got a concussion. So, their top two options were out of the offense. So
so I don't expect that every week. But nice play there. Nice play. But yeah, his team
Gabe
showing
Davis
some
got a
age
point.
there.
It's good.
Yeah, Gabe Davis.
I have in another league where I'm almost fumble proof to get a W. So I'm glad to see Gabe Davis has a point.
Yeah. Speaking of fumbles, Dallas Goedert cost me my season. Other notable matchups. I mean, I wouldn't say them notable, but some teams getting their first W's. Looks like Blake is on his way to his first W.
And
Logan coming
on the
back
way
2-1. Yeah.
Yeah. I was Blake on his way to 0-2. I think Devontae Smith and Amari Cooper got concussions, if I understand correctly. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects him. But with Saquon playing the way he is, like last year, I think Blake started 0-4. So I was talking to him the other day. It's like, even if you lose next week, like you still started better than you did last year. He made playoffs last year. So
yeah, I mean, I'm curious though because obviously he has Saquon who's doing amazing, but Jalen Warren is getting imaging on some injury.
He should be starting Austin Eckler. I don't know why he's not starting Austin Eckler.
Oh, that's true. Because I was like, who's he have at running back? He's got Bucky Irving and Austin Eckler. Yeah,
and so Austin Eckler's done better than Jalen Warren, I think, each week. So, I mean, if Saquon's going to be putting up 40 points, you've got what you need for.
Yeah, it's fine. Man, am I glad I got rid of Treylon Burks. I forgot about him.
Poor guy.
That's so sad. So much hype.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, Zach again put up almost 110. I think he's still got James Cook playing, so Zach is still having a decent week. He's gonna on the other side of the coin this week where he's coming up short against a good team where it was the opposite from last week. But again, his team's looking like a playoff team in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. And here's two playoff contenders in the next matchup. You're going to take the cake on this one, but Corey's team, 2-0, also an undefeated team, is going to fall. You actually started some of the right people this week.
But I benched some of the wrong people.
Yeah, that's always going to happen. But, welcome back to the 2-1 club. I'll meet you there.
Thanks.
Tough look for Shaheed, but, hey, his upside is tantalizing.
He's gonna go off. I sent that in the chat. He's gonna go off on my bench next week. I'm obviously gonna send him next week, and he's gonna go off. So it's just how it happens. I'm not gonna sit. Don't let me sit DK anymore this year. DK, I think I've sat him. I sat him once last year, and he had his best game of the season. Because I just got tired of like he'll put up a 4 stinker every once in a while, or like 10 or 11 points. I'm not gonna sit him anymore though.
How about your Vikings? Are you gonna go all in on Vikings?
I think so. I literally think next week I'm about to start Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones, and Justin Jefferson. Like I think I'm gonna start all 3.
Yeah, Monty.
And I'm gonna start Monty. Yeah, we'll see how Brian Robinson finishes out today, but the question Brian Robinson will be the first man up that I'll have to decide each week if I'm going to start him. But yeah, I was silly to start. I was silly to sit Monty. My Purdy pick ended up paying off, but yeah, Monty and Aaron Jones. It hurts seeing them on the bench.
Did anyone outmanage you this week?
I'm pretty sure you outmanaged me again. I haven't checked. I think I outmanaged myself as well. So
well, that doesn't count. But yeah. Oh
yeah,
man.
well, it gives me some like emotional support being able to be like, hey, I made the correct lineup choice over here. So.
Oh man, and Christian's team continues to wiggle. I don't know if that's the right word.
He gets his quote unquote bye week. Sorry, Wes.
Yeah, that's a tough look for Wes. Wes, man, what are you doing? You don't even have your first. You should play better.
He is okay. I'm not going to comment on his first because it's a sensitive subject, but I think he's doing what he can.
Yeah, that's tough. But
QJ seems to be a bright spot for him, and
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing: if he can end one after this season, I hope QJ just goes off for the sake of the league. And I hope that he can go off this year and me selfishly get the first pick. But I think it is good that QJ seemed to be coming into his own after these first couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a Chargers fan too, you love to see it. Justin Herbert's a little banged up right now, and the receiving core is not noteworthy. So QJ making some splash plays. I think he's leading the league in touchdowns or tied with it. That's a fun stat I saw.
Who is?
QJ, tied with 3.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Neighbors got 2. I think he might have had 1 before, but yeah, QJ is 3. You want to take a small sneak peek at week 4 here?
Yeah, let's do it.
So obviously, you and I play. That's going to be fun.
Yep. I mean, I hope it'll be really fun if you do what you did this week and I do what I did this week.
Yeah, projections are close. Those are always useless.
For real.
But yeah, it looks like there could be a couple blowouts. I mean, I think Corey's team going against Ryan's. Of course, Ryan has been overperforming slightly.
Ryan would have beat him this week.
That's crazy. If Christian's team doesn't turn it around,
that's gonna be a close game.
But yeah, Josh's team is also hurt, so they're both banged up. Riley might get a dose of reality, so he is going to be the only remaining undefeated team going against Josh Rich here. So look out. And then Blake has a bye week. So
that's huge for Blake if Devontae Smith and Amari Cooper are out. But maybe that's what Wesley needs to get a dub is he needs those injuries on the other team. So that is a favorable matchup for Blake if those guys are out this week.
Ooh, I got some trade requests. Should I open these up?
Oh yeah, I'd love that.
Oh yeah, so I got a Khalil Herbert for a 26th third. That is tempting.
Dude, I'd upgrade that to a 2027 third.
Oh, and I sent one to Christian. We'll get out of there.
Trying to get Travis Kelce, huh?
Well, when your tight end runs 6 routes, you start doing desperate things.
Dang, you just got him. He was your new shiny tight end last year.
Yeah, shiny, and then he broke his leg, and now he's not doing anything. Man.
Yep.
Well, trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I think league kind of hierarchy is taking shape, but at the same time, it is not. So I can't tell.
I would say there's echelons. In my mind, there's I'll put it into 3 echelons. There's the top one I think would consist of Josh, myself, and Corey.
Oh.
Across 3 weeks, those 3 teams have been consistently scoring the same. I guess Corey put up a stinker this week, but then the second one I would put you and Blake and Zach Miller has kind of been there the first 3 weeks, to be honest.
Would you stop popping balloons off?
I don't even know how I'm doing that. I think it's the peace sign. It likes my celebration. And then so that's the second echelon, and then the third echelon is I'm trying to pull up the actual league so I can see it. Third echelon is I'll put Riley because he's 3-0. And then I'll put Ryan, and I'll put Christian, and Zach. Although Zach's somewhere between that 2 and that 3. I'm going to put Zach in the third one right now because we all know he's going to get 5 wins. We just don't know how it's going to happen. So Zach's in that third echelon until he gets a winning record. And then I think there's only one team in the last one, and that's Wes. He's in the last echelon.
Congratulations, Logan. You got 101.
I hope so. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch.
You're going to have to trade that if you want to win. You know that, right?
I don't know. If I would have made the right start, I'd be putting just as much up as Josh this week.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with those ranks, despite me not being in the first one. When you score 60, you tend to fall out of the top one. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun week 4. I think that's when, it starts becoming more clear of what's going to happen and if you need to make some moves. Because, yeah, if I keep putting up less than 4 points at tight end, something's got to give, things like that. And then, yeah, I think everyone just needs to start learning how to manage the rosters a little better, have better luck.
Although, I will say, tight end play has been a little disappointing this year. So,
speaking of, who are you going to start next week?
I don't know yet.
You going to pick up your guy? Let's see who's on waivers.
I don't know if he's going to be out.
You can play Jonnu Smith,
Chigakampo, I've got so one thing that is positive is Adam Thielen is out, so I get to put him on my IR, which opens up a bench slot.
Ooh.
But I have ideas of who I'm going to start, so we'll see. But he also might not miss next week, so only time will tell.
It's true.
But if you're going to put up 59 points, maybe I won't even start a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, your guy could fumble it and lose you points, so that's a smart play.
Yeah, it's true. You've experienced that before. But yeah, that's kind of the recap of everything, and starting to take shape a little bit. But now the bye weeks start hitting next week, or is it the week after?
I think it's week 5.
Okay, well the bye weeks are going to start hitting soon, and that's when teams have some devastating losses, and you see where depth comes into play. So, it'll start getting interesting. Everyone, when you got your full roster healthy, or at least playing, not on buys, it's a different story than the majority of the season when people have buys in and out.
It's true. Okay, well, yeah, let's just wrap it up there.
Cool.
Logan, you know what's up.
Yeah. Well, first, still working away on the, I think, I was calling it the commissioner we have a problem at, but now I'm just going to be featuring the content we do. I'm actually now forming it to where anyone can add their league and anyone can outmanage their league if they want. It's got to be a sleeper league, but anyone can add their league and kind of compete against their league mates. So I'm making it into more of like a global app that will feature our content. So now I think I'm going to call it Outmanage Fantasy. And we'll also be able to add like the lore of the league. So we'll get to add like stories and everything, and then like laws, like all of our non-league, all of, like the non-setting laws, like leave clause and what else do we have? Like our voting rules, all of that you can add in like the laws section, and then you can check the laws for a league. So that's all stuff that we'll have featured in there as well. So it'll kind of be like a town hall for our league. And what'll be cool is, again, you can share and invite anyone to come in and like comment on transactions in your league. So really can be a public place for people to come and interact with your league. So if you have like other friends who want to join in, and we all know that people love when you talk about your fantasy team. So
especially the ones that they're not a part of. Like, look how great my team did.
Yeah. But it'll be fun, especially like content creators who actually have fantasy leagues. Like they can invite people in. and if we ever have people listen outside of our fantasy league in like 20 years, they can actually see how it's going. So building some more of that, it'll feature our content, but that'll hopefully be up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and everyone can kind of download it off the App Store, and we can play with it. So I'm excited for it to get there.
Yeah, and our seed sponsor, Des, he couldn't be happier. So thank you for your continued support.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. All true. Cool. Well, thank you all for listening. Are we going to be back next week?
Yeah, soon enough. Week or two.
Are you going to get this posted before next week?
We'll see. Might get it posted tonight. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be. When I say next week, I mean before week
Thursday.
4. Before Thursday. But when you're listening to this, it could already be week 7. So we'll see. But yeah. I gotta remember. Like that bell. No, sorry. Like that video. Hit that bell. Subscribe. All of that. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and for those guys in our leagues always asking me when the next episode is, you would know if you subscribe. So maybe this time will be the test. I'll just post it, not say anything, and then someone will find out, hopefully.
And the app's going to send a push notification when a new video's up. So
that's what we need.
Yep, I know. We'll get there. All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll see y'all later.
Yeah, thanks guys, and good luck.